Hi, everybody. My name is Alan Wright. I am the founder and president of Zephyr Conferences, which is the organizer of the International Food Blogger Conference. We also run 4 other conferences, 2 in the wine world, one of which is for wine writers and media, and 2 in the beer world, one of which is for beer bloggers and influencers and media. And we're very happy to have everybody here this morning. I am going to just give everybody a 2-minute sort of welcome, as this is our first out of 14 different sessions we've put on in this virtual summit. And then I will pass it over quickly to Jenny, who will be your speaker for this first session. I wanted to just give you a little bit of history about the International Food Blogger Conference. I started the Wine Bloggers Conference in 2008, which seems like an awful long time ago now. And at that time, there were really very few niche blogging conferences at all. Really, there were just a few major general blogging conferences. And when I started the Wine Bloggers Conference, we had no real idea that that concept would even work. But very quickly, a couple of months into announcing it, we realized there was a need for this among the wine bloggers and among the wine industry to connect with them. And it worked. The very next year, a company up in Seattle called Foodista started the International Food Blogger Conference. And we went to them the following year and said, hey, we just started the Wine Bloggers Conference. You started the Food Bloggers Conference. We thought we'd get in touch. And they said, yeah, we don't really want to be running conferences. That's not what we do very well. And I said, well, we do that well. And so we partnered with Foodista, and they're still a partner in the International Food Blogger Conference, although less active now. So that's a little bit of the history about the International Food Blogger Conference. One unique aspect of this conference is that it travels. And I think most people know that. People are aware that there are a number of different food blogging conferences out there, and they've come and gone over the years. There's been quite a bit of change. But one of the distinct aspects of ours is that we have traveled it around the country. The last 3 years, we were in Sacramento, California, New Orleans, Louisiana, and Juneau, Alaska. And everybody probably knows that we're headed down to El Paso, Texas. And I will be talking about sort of the state of food blogging conferences and the future of food blogging conferences at the very last session on Friday afternoon. I think it's 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And that conference in El Paso is still scheduled for November, but we're working hard at it. We're very involved with this. In addition to Zephyr Conferences, the other half of my business is called Zephyr Adventures and Taste Vacations, 2 small tour companies. So we have been on the COVID-19 pandemic results, the infection process, and the effect on travel and conferences very tightly. And so I'll be sharing that information with all of you who would like to participate and talking a little bit about conferences at that time. But what we do know, what all of you know, is that this is disrupting everything, including in-person conferences. And it has already disrupted in-person conferences, including food blogging conferences. And so we decided to put on this for free because we realized there is going to be a lack of in-person meeting this year. And we thought that this would be something that all of you would enjoy. It also makes sense for us because our last in-person conference was June, 1 year ago, and the next one's not scheduled until November, so we had 17 months between conferences. When we decided to do this, I turned to somebody who spoke at the 2018 conference in New Orleans, Jenny Melrose. And Jenny was great speaking then. She has a practice, a business where she helps influencers create their own business. So it's really right along the lines of my heart as an entrepreneur myself. And so Jenny and I spoke there in New Orleans, but also have spoken several times afterwards. And when we decided to do this, at very short notice, by the way, I turned to Jenny and she said, yes, we can do this. And so she volunteered her time to help out with this. and I want to thank Jenny because she was the one that got 80 to 90% of the talks that are happening these next 3 days. So I'm going to pass it over to Jenny just shortly, but I wanted to tell everybody that if you can't see all these upcoming sessions, we do have the option of that all access pass for $20, which is about as low as you can go for anything these days. So I encourage you to do that. But right now, give a virtual round of applause, since we can't do it in person, for Jenny Melrose, who's going to come on and talk to you about attracting your dream audience on Instagram.
Okay, I think I'm in the screen and I see some of you guys commenting on the side. Once I go to share my screen, I'm not going to be able to see your comments, but we're going to make sure that I come back and answer any questions that you have. Thank you guys so much for putting in where you're from. I see Deborah. I know that that is my Deborah. And I also have seen Amy Katz and Mary Ellen. I've seen a bunch of you guys coming in, and I'm so excited that you are all here. I know there's a bunch of you as well that are wine bloggers, beer bloggers, food bloggers, and some of you that may not even be food bloggers, because that's some of my audience as well. But so what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about attracting your dream audience and selling on Instagram. So I am going to kind of walk you through my slides. Like I said, I'm going to make sure that you guys can see me. First, I'm going to share my screen, and then we are going to pop you over here. Okay, so we are going to get started. And again, any questions that you have, please feel free to what is it doing? Okay, we're going to start. Actually, we're going to do it just like this. Hopefully that will push this over here. We're going to do it right out of Canva. We're going to play it like this because I'm not always great with the tech. Here we go. All right, so we're going to talk about attracting your dream audience on Instagram. What I do want to tell you guys is if you have any questions that you're watching the replay of this, you're going through, you have a question after this is done, you can always send me a DM on Instagram. I am at Jenny_Melrose. You can definitely find me there. I am going to pop down. Now, Sarah, for some reason, I know Sarah is kind of watching the comments. If for some reason you guys can't see my screen or something, Sarah, if you could pop in and let me know. I think you can. I think we're good. Always a tech thing with me makes me nervous. Okay. So really quick introduction on me, and then we are going to dive into the tips and strategies. So my name is Jenny Melrose. I am a former teacher. I've taught in the inner city in New York for 9 years. And I always tell people anytime I speak, if you've heard me speak at International Food Blogger Conference or any of the other conferences around the country, I always say that if you have a question, just ask it, because I'm used to dodging chairs. So very much wanting you guys to be able to interact and ask questions. I can't see them right now, but we're going to make sure we go back to them at the end. So please ask those. I am also a content strategist. I work with my clients to make sure that they are putting out content that is going to help them grow their audience and their business. I am an author. Some of you might have seen over the corner of my shoulder, there was my first book, came out May 1st. It is called Influencer Entrepreneurs. I keep everything really consistent. I'm also a podcaster. I host the Influencer Entrepreneurs Show. So you can find me on your favorite podcasting app for that as well. I'm also a business coach. I work in create mastermind groups of 6 women to work through their businesses to make sure that they can continue to scale and grow them. And I also work one-on-one with some of my clients. I am also a mom and a wife. I have 2 daughters that are 7 and 10, and let's be honest, they're home, so I'm hoping there's no interruptions, but I can't guarantee anything. So hopefully you will give me some grace if they do decide to pop in and randomly ask me a question in the middle of a presentation in front of 350 people. We're going to go with it though. Okay, so let's talk about why Instagram, all right? There are 1 billion users and 79% are between the ages of 18 to 44. So a lot of your audience is probably there, but we are also seeing is that the trends are starting to change a bit. That yes, 18 to 44 is the majority, but we are seeing more and more of the ages that are higher, older, coming on. because their grandkids are making them, because they want to see their grandbabies. They want to see the pictures of them. So there are more users coming on. They're in older age range as well. I actually saw a comment come through when we were starting about how there was a wine blogger whose granddaughter made her go onto Instagram and get started with it. That's exactly what is happening. A lot of users that might be a little bit older are starting to come because they want to see their grandbabies, and that's how they are seeing them, because their daughters, sons are sharing on Instagram instead of Facebook now. Okay. The interesting thing about Instagram is that there's 4 different features making up the one platform. So in other words, you have the ability to do IGTV, which is just like a YouTube. You have the videos that stay there. You're able to have your own channel within Instagram. You also have Instagram stories, which came about because of Snapchat, which now nobody talks about. But you have that 24-hour period where you can have all of these different pictures, videos that are going to expire after those 24 hours, but very much give your audience an opportunity to know you and give you the behind the scenes. You also have Instagram Live, where you're able to go live to your audience at a particular time. You can also pull in guests, just like Facebook Live. That also will expire after that 24 hours. The last piece, of course, then, is the Instagram feed, which is what it was traditionally known for and used for. That's how most of us knew Instagram. I started blogging in, 2009, I want to say, so it would have been 11 years. I had a recipe blog. I was known in the food blogger space for the Melrose family, where I created quick and easy recipes and projects. And I was one of the ones that was slow to get to Instagram because I wasn't really understanding the purpose behind it. Why am I going to put pretty pictures up on this platform if I'm not going to get clicks back to my website? Well, today we're really going to talk to you and show you how you can, and why you don't need to worry about getting those clicks as much, because it's truly about building that audience and understanding the tribe of people that you are going to be able to grow from Instagram. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I want to walk you through the pieces of Instagram so you can make sure that you're set up to attract your dream audience. So the first place we're going to start is your Instagram profile. Now with this, what you want to do is you want to take a look at, this is your vanity URL. So the name in which they would find when you go to your Instagram account. If it's your name, then instead of telling me your name right here for your name piece in your profile, I want you to tell me what you do instead. So if you are a wine blogger, if you're a wine connoisseur, if you are a health and wellness expert, whatever that might be, that would be here if this is the name of your site or your physical name. So for me, obviously, Jenny Melrose is the name of my site. It's jennymelrose.com, and it's also my name, so I'm just going to put business coach. So here are some other examples that I actually want to give. I want to make this a little bit larger for you guys so that you can make sure that you see that. There you go. And I know that Amy Katz is actually here. This is one of someone attendee that is watching, using her as an example. So these are the names of their sites. This is Michelle Spring, as you can see, from Thriving in Paleo. What she has made sure that she has done is she gives me her name here so that I know what to call her when I DM her as someone in her audience. And she also tells me what it is that she does, paleo and AIP, okay? Another example, Veggie Save the Day is the name of Amy's sites. She has her name here, and then she tells me she's a vegan food blogger. This is another great example. This is Nicole's site. Her site is called Saunders Says. Her first name, again, you don't have to give your last name because no one's going to say, except unless you're Phil Palin and you're talking to me, your full name of Jenny Melrose. They're probably just going to call you Jenny, or they're going to call you Nicole. So you can just put your first name, and she's a Pinterest strategist. So depending upon what your URL is within Instagram is going to determine if you're going to put your first name here and then tell me what it is that you do, okay? So if, like for me, it didn't make sense for me to put Jenny here again. I'm not going to put my name again. You know what my name is. It's Jenny Melrose. It's right there. So paying attention to that, using that piece. Now, a lot of people will say to me, again, Why am I putting my name? What's the important part? This is about my site. I'm creating, showing them how to use wine special ways with pairing it with different things. Because what you need to be able to do is to attract that audience, you have to connect with them. And they want to be able to call you by your first name. Because what we're going to talk a lot about today is the importance of getting people into your direct messages so that you can affect the algorithm. Sorry. My words got all cut up there, obviously. Okay, the next piece of your profile, again, that can give you more information, and I have since changed this, but didn't update my slides for you, but is your category. Your category is going to tell you a bit more, people a bit more, and it's going to tell Instagram a bit more. So if you'll notice, a lot of times suggested accounts will come into either your feed or sometimes even into your stories, and that is going to happen because of your category. So make sure that you have that filled out there. I have since changed this to entrepreneur because public figure really didn't work. That was when I was thinking more along the speaking lines. So you can see Amy has health and wellness website and Nicole has social media agency. Try to find a category that would work for you and the content that you create. Okay. The next piece is going to be the description. So you're going to tell me what you do, which is your elevator pitch, and add in a branded hashtag. Okay. So I create content strategies for you to scale your business. Amy has inspiration to choose plant-based meals more often. So it's letting you know what you do and who it is for. Okay. When I had the Melrose family, I created quick and easy recipes and projects for busy parents. And that would have been my description right here. It lets my audience automatically know whether I am the right fit and who they are looking to interact with. Okay. Now, what you also want to make sure that you do is you want to include a branded hashtag right in the top in your description. So in mine, hashtag is influencer entrepreneurs. I would recommend that Amy use one too at Veggie Save the Day. So it's just hashtag Veggie Save the Day, all one word. And just make sure that you continue to come up, especially since you can now follow hashtags inside Instagram. It gives you the ability to make sure that you are one of the ones that is known for that hashtag. This way too, as a food blogger, if someone is making your recipe, you can let them know, hey, use this hashtag. And now it's going to get pulled into and give you content to possibly share into your stories. So using that hashtag is going to be important, and you want to make it true to you and it's branded so that it's going to be, people are going to recognize it immediately as you. Now, that's not to say that no one else is going to use it, because ideally we do want other people using it. Jenna Kutcher is a great example. She has a podcast, Gold Diggers. You can constantly see people using that hashtag. There's over, I think, 300,000 people now using that hashtag. But it started off as a branded hashtag that she was using because that was the name of her podcast. Okay. The next piece of your profile that's going to be important is I want to emphasize this, especially for food bloggers and wine bloggers and beer bloggers, is that you want to get them on your list. Too often, I watch influencers try to just continually grow their following on certain platforms and they're never growing their email list. You need to be growing that list. That list is so important for your business to continue to grow. So when you put in a URL here, I would recommend that there is some way for them to get onto your list. So if they're going to go to your homepage, I'm hoping that you have an opt-in, a freebie that you are giving them in exchange for their email address. So for example, I know that Amy has her plant-based Mediterranean diet guide is what is here, is linked. If you click through to that, that will give you her opt-in for that, and she's asking for your email in exchange for that. Michelle has a paleo freebie library, so that if you go to this link, you can sign up and you get access to all of her freebies. I have my pitch checklist where I walk you through how to pitch brands for sponsorships, because that is also what I'm probably best known for in the food blogging space. But you want to have a link here that is definitely going to give them an opportunity to get on your list, not just changing out to send it to the latest, to send to the latest post. There is a better way. We're going to talk about how to use stories to actually send them to your content, to your blog posts. So if you put a pretty picture here, you can kind of see Amy has a pretty picture here. She's going to talk about this recipe. She is not going to change this link out to be this recipe to send people there, because when you try to tell people in your description to go over to go to my profile or LinkedIn profile or whatever it is that I see people saying, they don't do it. It's an added step. There are easier ways to do that, and we're going to talk about that. Not only in your feed, but so much so in your stories. Okay, so we are going to talk about here, you're going to talk about your Instagram feed. We're going to go through your photos, your descriptive story, the call to action, your location, hashtags, and the share to story. For some reason, that photo is not there, which is upsetting me, because I'm actually going to pull a different one so that you can see it. I want you to be able to see an example. I don't know why this is giving me a hard time. I did this the last time though too. I presented through here. Okay, so I'm pulling up a photo of this so that you can take a look at what we want to see as our description. So I'm going to pull this here. Okay. So when we're talking about the things that we talked about, your photo, obviously you guys are food bloggers, you're wine bloggers, you take beautiful photos, you want your photos to be beautiful. Your feed, I would try to use your brand colors. Think about from your website. Have something cohesive so that it's always looking pretty, right? Something bright, whatever your photos might be. You're probably the best examples of gorgeous photos, so I'm not even going to try to tell you that you need to improve them. The next piece of this is going to be your descriptive story. Now, I use a formula for this. So I'm going to start off with normally asking a question or getting you somehow intrigued. So for this one, I just asked onward and upward, right? I have also asked on recent photos, double tap if you are sick of being stuck in quarantine. Double tap if you are looking for new meals to make with your family. You can also ask questions like, are you a potato lover? Like, let's say you were going to put a recipe that has a potato in it. Are you a potato lover? Start off with a question, something that gives them, yes, they're shaking their head. They're going to double tap and say, yep, I absolutely, this is me. It has qualified them. The next piece of what you're going to do is you're going to give them that descriptive story. You're not just going to simply say, here's the recipe, this is what it is, and be done with it. In the past, I've seen many food bloggers that will just say, like, if this is a picture of their potato leek salad, they are going to just say potato leek salad, and they're going to move on. They're going to put their pretty picture, and they're going to think they're done. You have to draw them in. So tell me that story behind it. I had a recent client do a potato salad, which is why the potatoes in it. And she was actually, I think she might be live with us, Cook Like a Greek. She was talking about how the potato is used for certain things, and why she uses it over something else. Tell me that story behind that food, just like you would on your blog. The story has to also get you pulled in. Now, what you're going to notice is here, I use emojis in between my questions because it gives people an opportunity to read it. When people do long paragraphs and it's all like multiple sentences in one, it's difficult to read in Instagram. It's too small. So the way in which I use emojis, you can just use a period, punctuation, whatever it is, a symbol to get this added line. All that you do in order to get this is right behind the punctuation, like right here behind that question mark, you immediately hit return, and then you would put your emoji, or you would put your punctuation that you're putting, and you would hit return again. So again, it's the same thing if you have a period. So immediately after I put that period, I hit return, and it gave me this added space. You want that space so it draws people's eyes to it, okay? All right, perfect. The other thing with this is that you want to include your location, especially if you are a wine blogger and you go to events, wherever that might be in your local city, use that location. It'll help people find you. And then the last part of that description is you want to make sure that you have a call to action. So in your call to action should be something like, in the comments, this is how you're going to get people to actually get that recipe. So Here I asked, tell me in the comments what you're tired of. Let's put it out there and move on. So I was trying to get people to tell me things of what's been going on in their lives. Yesterday I posted a photo on my feed and I talked about quarantine and I told a funny story about one of my daughters and what had happened with her. And I said, in the comments, tell me a funny story about what has happened for you in quarantine. I've had people come through and tell me their stories and tell me all the crazy things that have happened. You have to give them a call to action or that CTA. Now, as food bloggers, if you're trying to get someone to your recipe, if you had this picture was that potato salad that we talked about before, you might say in the comments, leave me your fave emoji if you want this recipe. And then everyone that leaves their fave emoji, because the reason you're trying to get them to do this is it gets interaction and engagement on your posts right there in the feed. And it's only going to help the algorithm. So if they left their favorite emoji in the comments telling you, I want this recipe, they have raised their hand, then what I would do is I'm going to go and hit right next to their name, that little looking airplane guy here, right? And I'm going to go to their DMs and I'm going to say, here's the recipe, enter. And then I'm going to come right into that same one and I'm going to drop the link to the recipe. So now they have it. And the interesting part about this, you guys, is that if you do it as a second GM that you send to them, it makes the link live. So instead of them having to try to swipe up or they got to go to your profile, make all these steps, all they're doing is they're going directly to their DMs, opening up, and there's the link for them to click and open up to your recipe. That right there is the best way to actually get some of that traffic that you might be looking for. But again, you really, really want to have a call to action that is going to cause them to do it. I have clients that have 30,000 followers on Instagram. They tell them to put their favorite emoji in the comments, and they've been doing this now probably for at least a year, so their audience is trained. But when they do this, they'll have 250 people drop an emoji. And she is going through and she is making sure that she is direct messaging all of those people that recipe. Yes, that takes time. But guess what? Those people that have gotten it into their actual DMs are more likely to give you that click through to your site that you're aiming for. Those 250 people are giving you 250 clicks off of one photo. You're not going to get that if you tell them to go to your profile because they're lazy and they're not going to want to do it. Okay, so the last piece of this is your hashtags. Now, you don't see my hashtags in this because I put it as my first comment. You can use up to 30 hashtags, and I would recommend using those 30 hashtags. Your hashtags, we're not going to go into huge detail here, but with hashtags, you want something that has at least 5,000 searches and no more than 500,000. Because once you get out of that 500,000 into larger volume of hashtags on that particular hashtag, you're never going to be found. It's going to be difficult to be at the top. It's just used too actively. So 30 hashtags, first comments. And then the last piece of what I do is I share it to my stories. I'm going to hit this little airplane and it's going to open it up so that I can put this picture into my stories. And I'm going to use a GIF that says tap here, and I'm going to put it over my face or whatever it might be, whatever the picture is, and I'm going to have that tap here. And then I'm normally going to write something in my stories using the text feature that says something along the lines of what it is that I'm talking about, getting them to try to get them to click through. Now, if you actually go to my stories right now, you'll see the post that I did from yesterday that is talking this exact example that I gave you. So if you're curious, again, at Jenny_Melrose, you just go up to the story piece and it'll be able to tell you exactly what I'm talking about with that. Okay, so this is my favorite part. This is what makes Instagram worth everything that it could possibly be ever worth. Instagram not only can give you that tribe of people, but that tribe of people can tell you what to create as far as content that is going to be on your blog, that is going to be for free. They can tell you what to create as far as an opt-in to grow your list, again, emphasizing that fact. And they can also tell you what product or service that they are willing to pay for. And final, you can sell directly from your stories. So Here's what I want you to understand. We talked a little bit already about getting into their DMs. Well, you're probably wondering, okay, well, that feels little like, how do I get there? They're not necessarily why. Well, it serves them with what they need and want. They're going to raise their hand. We're not an MLM where we are going to randomly just DM someone and say, oh, you're so pretty. I'd love for you to start doing this skincare stuff. That's not what we're doing here. We are giving them the opportunity to raise their hand. You saw how I had them do it in the feed. They put their favorite emoji. It raised their hand to tell me, I want a DM from you with this link, with this recipe. Please put it there. We're also going to talk about how you can use stories to get them to raise their hand constantly so that you can get into the DMs. Now, the reason behind wanting to get into the DMs is obviously to build that relationship, but also we're going to actually work the algorithm. Constantly, we hear people saying, oh, the algorithm doesn't show my content, doesn't show me this. When you get into their DMs, first of all, it's going to pop you to the front of their story bubble. At the second you get into someone's DMs, they are all of a sudden going to start seeing you a ton more in the front of their story bubbles. And the pictures in your feed pictures will start showing up in their feed. It's giving them that opportunity to know that they need it. Sarah, were you trying to come in? No. Okay. I thought I heard a sound in the background. Okay. So we talked a little bit about the DMs and why they are so important and why you truly, truly need to get into them. Now I'm going to give you some examples of how you can do that. So there are features inside of Instagram stories. Now, if you've never done an Instagram story, it's super, super simple. If you're inside Instagram, I'm going to actually look at my phone as I'm talking you through this, is you'll notice that up in the top left corner, there's a little camera. If you click on that camera, all it does is it opens up so that you have an opportunity to take a picture. Then on the side, you can see you could create with the text feature. You also, if you wanted, could do a boomerang. It gives you all of these options. And if you just touch once to the middle, it gives you a picture. If you hold it down, it gives you 15 seconds of a video. So creating a story is super simple. And here's the thing about stories. People don't want to see the perfect. Please do not just use it to post your beautiful photo from your feed into your stories. They want to see the behind the scenes. They want to see your kitchen a mess. They want to see your kids with flour everywhere or whatever it is. They want to get to know you. So it should be probably, I would say percentage wise, you want to talk probably about 60% business, but also let 40% be that personal every day. A story is supposed to be the story of that 24-hour period. It's not supposed to just be, here's me sharing my crap. It's supposed to be, this is what my day looks like. This is what I've been up to. So if you look at my stories from yesterday, you'll see that I went through and I shared a couple different things trying to lead up to it. And now this morning, I have since shared when I was in the green room. It's your day. That's the way we're looking at a story. So there's features that you can use that once you actually take your picture, so I want you guys right here with me, just take a picture of your screen, okay? And then I want you to go up to the top right. You're going to see the A is your text feature where you can actually write and tell people what this is about, summarize. Then you see the squiggly lines, which is something where you can actually draw. But I want you to do this little sticker looking guy. And when you click that sticker guy, you're going to see the features. So there's GIFs, obviously. You can pick any GIF that you want for that. But then the more important features are this poll, the questions, the countdown, the quiz, and also when I say summarize, this is the text feature. We're going to talk a little bit more about this. But this one, if I could highlight this and circle it to the moon in the back, I would. Your polls feature is the most important feature that you can use. You should be doing a poll every single day. Every single day, I want you to be doing a poll. And we're going to talk about what that poll should look like. And this, I'm telling you guys, this is how I sell directly from Instagram. This is how I grow my list from Instagram. This is how I drive traffic from Instagram. And this is how I figure out what my products and services and opt-ins should be and content. I will decide on a podcast episode based on these polls. But play with these. See exactly what these do for you. so that you can see it. Now, the last piece here, and I don't want to forget to say this, so I'm going to do it right now, is this summarize. And I talked about this is the text, that A that you saw in the top right corner. The summarize is important because the reasoning is, if you do a 15-second video where you are talking, so you do like a selfie, but you're doing like a talking head video is what I explain it as. You need to summarize what it is that you are saying in that video, because 75% of users do not use Instagram stories with the sound on. Which means that if you are just talking, I'm swiping past you because I'm one of those users that don't use the sound on, because I don't want my kids coming and running over. I want to be able to look in stories and see what's going on. And if you just summarize what it is that you're talking about, that will give me the information that I need without having to attract my kids to come over towards me. I'm actually looking in my stories to see if I did a talking head video yesterday. I didn't do any talking head videos, but I will be sure to do a talking head video after we're done with this, that you can see what I'm talking about. But it's just, you're summarizing what you're saying, not word for word. Don't use those silly transcript services that let you do it. Just summarize what it is that you're telling me, okay? All right, oh, where are my pictures? This is gonna drive me crazy. Okay, so my picture is not, I don't know why this picture isn't here. I'm gonna lose it. Let's see if I can't. I'm gonna reload the page while you guys are here with me because I need this picture. All right, I want you to be able to see this example because this was an example that I had used when I had done okay, it looks like those pictures are back. Yes. See, I told you tech is always not my favorite. Okay, so here's a perfect example of a poll. So this was a boomerang video that I had done. So it was just me being silly, wiggling the book, because this was when I was having my book lunch party. I had a countdown timer that everyone could get a notification. They could sign up for this and they would get like a notification, oh, the book lunch party is starting. So there's my countdown timer, which was this one here. Then this is my summarize. I am summarizing. I wasn't talking in this video, but you need some context for this. So I simply said, get your copy ordered before the party, plus grab your free workbook. Then here my poll was, got mine, and I need it. And it was because I was up here asking if they had it yet or not, okay? So got mine, need it. So let's do an example of what I could see one of you guys doing. So let's say, for example, you wanted to know whether or not they wanted if they preferred potato over let's do broccoli cheese soup, okay? So you're trying to decide on which ingredient they like better. I don't actually like that example. Let's say we were trying to decide on kale, or we're trying to decide on another green, arugula. So now I want you to say, like, which is your favorite lettuce, okay? And that's the poll that you're going to do. And you can have an option for kale and arugula. Now, what you're going to do is when you actually swipe up, you can see, so this is the picture here. I'm giving you an example of exactly who did what. You can see your numbers. So again, mine was 68% got mine, 32% need it. So I can then see who said got mine and who said it need it. So these are my 6 for need it. So they already had theirs, I didn't need it. But like, let's say, for example, yours was kale and arugula. The people that had kale, I'm gonna hit this little airplane and go into their DMs. And I'm gonna start a conversation with them. I don't wanna just know that they like kale, so what? What does that mean? So I'm gonna ask them, do you use it in a smoothie? Do you like it better in salads? And then I'm gonna wait for their interaction and have a conversation with them. Okay, this is how you get a better understanding of what your people need. If you had an opt-in, like Amy has her Mediterranean diet ebook, she might do something up here where she's going to say, hey, have you gotten my Mediterranean diet ebook for free yet? And hers is going to say, got mine, need it, okay? And so it's never yes, no. That's the option that they give you, but don't use that option, okay? You're going to show that someone already has it, right? So you're giving them that social proof. And then you're going to have the ones that don't have it yet that need it. And that's what you're going to look for them to press. The ones that then need it, you might do something similar to what I did with this book. So with this is an example. This is one of them who said that needed it. So here's the one that she interacted on. This was the story that she interacted on. And I just said, here you go. The workbook is on this page too. And then in a separate comment, I dropped the link. You need to drop the link in a separate comment off of your story. It can't be in the first comment that you send because the link won't be live. So if you send it in the second, it'll be a live link and they can simply press and go straight to it. So now instead, let's go back to that kale and arugula example. If I had done it as kale and arugula in here, instead of saying about my workbook or my opt-in, I'm going to say, when you use kale, what do you normally use it in? How do you normally cook it? Do you cook it or do you just eat it raw like in salads? And then I'm going to wait for their response and I'm going to see what they say. And I'm going to see if they are then probably going to say, you know what? I always use it in salads. Do you have any recipes for how I could use it differently? There's my in. Yep, here's all my recipes that use kale and which I can cook it with. You have to have a purpose for what you are trying to do when you're using these examples of getting into their direct messages, because this is going to be where you build those relationships with people. People are going to tell you exactly what they need and want. Okay, the last piece of this that I want to make sure, because I'm checking my time and I can see I'm going over because I could literally talk about this all day long. I need you to stop worrying about swipe up. Swipe up is stupid. That's what I want you to understand, okay? So when it comes to swipe up, for those that don't know, 10,000 followers, you have the ability then in a story to link a photo, a video, whatever it might be, to a page that all people have to do is just swipe up and go to it. Here's the problem. They're swiping up all day long. You swipe up in Facebook, you swipe up in Pinterest. When you're on your phone, which is what the majority of your people are probably on looking at your content on, they're always swiping up all day long. It is a lazy thing that they're constantly doing. So it's not them raising their hand and actually going to take some action and going to give you their email address for their opt-in, or they're going to actually make that recipe or stay on your site. If anything, it's going to hurt your bounce rate because you're going to have so many people that just lazily swipe up and don't do anything with it and only stay on it for 3 seconds because they're inside Instagram and not actually in a place where they're going to make it at that time. So instead of having them do swipe up, use the polls feature. Use the comments of your post in order to get them into the direct messages so you can give them live links. Give them the opportunity to actually raise their hand instead of lazily letting them swipe up. My people that have 30,000 followers on Instagram are not using swipe up. They're telling their people in Instagram stories, even DM me for the recipe. And they'll get a DM saying, hey, I want that recipe that you showed me in Instagram stories. And then they'll just send them the live link in DMs. They're also doing things like this or that. Amy Katz is a great example of this. Veggie Save the Date recently has been doing this a ton. And she'll do a recipe for an avocado, and it'll have an avocado in a salad and an avocado in a soup. And she'll put the avocado salad as this, and she'll put the avocado soup as that. And then her poll after those pictures are this or that. Which one? And now she then, when they say this and it's the avocado salad, is sending them that link. And the ones that say that are then getting the avocado soup link. So you're giving people an opportunity to raise their hand and say, that's the one I want. That's what I want to be a part of. I want that recipe. I want to know more about that. Give them an opportunity. Stop worrying about swipe up and just go about your business. All right, you guys. So for some of you, I'm sure you're thinking, okay, we're talking about stories. I see the way that you use this. How often should I be using it? You should be posting to your stories 3 to 5 times per day. Yes, I know for some of you, your head just exploded because you're like, I don't use stories at all. It's okay. This is my free Instagram story planner. If you go to jennymelrose.com/IG story planner with the little lines in between. If you go there, it'll give you my planner that's going to walk you through kind of giving you a routine to become consistent with your stories. So that will definitely help you with that. That 3 to 5, again, it doesn't always need to be business. It shouldn't always be business. Sometimes I want it to be a picture of your dog running into the wall, Or I want it to be a picture of your kids just out riding a bike and enjoying the beautiful summer day because you're finally out of the house because it rained for 14 days straight. Talk to people. You need to be able to connect with people on a different level. Many of us obviously have been quarantined. People want to talk to someone. They want to connect with you. So give them that chance to do that. The last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is for this audience, I'm offering 50% off of my Instagram audits. I actually go through your profile, I go through your feed, your descriptions, your stories, and I'm going to give you feedback on what specifically you should have there. I'm going to tell you exactly what it should. I'm going to tell you what I like. I'm going to tell you what I don't like. You're going to walk away with 50 usable hashtags that I have done the research on, made sure that they fall and are based on your site and the content that you're creating. And you're also going to go away with examples of how you should be using your stories, as well as I'm going to take a look at your insights. So we're going to take a look and see exactly what is working for you and try to determine, I will determine what is working well and what is not and how to fix it. So this is only offered up right now if you go to that bit.ly link. So it's bit.ly/JMIT audit. You can get that for 50% off right now too. My audits are normally $197, so I'm offering it up to you guys for $97. All right, I am going to stop sharing. I'm going to see if there are any questions, and also get Sarah's back in. Okay, perfect.
I'm here, yeah. Hi, Jenny. Great presentation. I think that was really interesting on polls to actually go out and message them once they already engage with you. Great tip. So we do have a few questions here.
Yeah.
One question was at the beginning, the list of categories that you can find other accounts. Where is that exactly?
So when you go to your actual profile on Instagram, unless they have updated it recently, which it's Instagram, it's highly likely, but you can actually go to your profile. I'm going to try to walk you guys through this. You go to edit profile, and then I have, for mine, this little category window right here. And when I click on the categories, it pulls up all of the different categories that you can possibly use. Now, if for some reason it's not there, it could very well be that there was an update done. I was messing with it yesterday and noticed that it was giving me a hard time, and it's still kind of doing it. So if it's not there, I apologize. They have updated something. I'm going to actually do it. So as you see, when I press it, it actually is giving me like an error message. So I'm wondering if they've gotten rid of this now. So it was a feature, but looks like it might be having some hard time. If there's anyone that isn't having a hard time that's actually live with me, I would love it if you would tell me that it's working for you or that it's not. Okay, yes, so that kind of worked. Okay, some people are seeing it right now too. Okay, good. So that's where it is. It's right there. There's that category button when you go to edit profile. And I clearly talk really fast. Sorry, Sarah.
And then another question was, if you don't have a website, how would you recommend dropping a link in the DMs or having a link in your bio? What would you recommend for that?
If they don't have a website, okay. So if they don't have a website, it really matters and depends upon what their purpose is for their business, okay? So if they're just looking, and I shouldn't say just, but if they're an influencer that has only an Instagram account, I would recommend build an email list. Because here's the thing I didn't say to you is that Instagram can decide that they want to shut down tomorrow. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but they can. I had over 660,000 followers on Google+. They turned around and they shut it down. I lost every single one of those followers. Now, obviously, I'm a dinosaur. I've been around for 11 years online and on social media. So that was, you may not even be familiar with Google+, but grow your list if you do not have a website. And if you don't have a website and you're looking to do this as a business and you're an influencer, I would start thinking about where am I looking to go with this? Like, what is my purpose for this? And possibly building a website, having a website, it's only going to help with you have more ways to diversify your revenue as far as ads, sponsorships with brands. They want that blog is important.
Right. And then for the link, do you have experience using Linktree, and is it better to use for multiple links?
So normally I would say, well, I'm going to say it anyways. I'm not a fan of Linktree. I'm not a fan of, Tailwind has one as well that you can have multiple. You can have them, you can have that there. But the problem is when people have 25 things in their Linktree, and people will get in there and they get overwhelmed. They see 25 things and they go, I'm not doing this. I'm not clicking anything. So that's why I recommend one link going to one place where they can sign up for their opt-in. You can definitely use it. I just have seen that when people to have that one link, they're more likely to grow their list and not worry about trying to get the clicks through to the post, because again, people are not going to your profile from your posts in your feed. The only reason people are clicking through to your link is if they are on your profile, they're looking and you've been suggested or someone has talked about you recently. And they're like, oh, what is this person all about? That's how they're seeing that link and using it.
Right, great. And then in your bio, is there a certain amount of characters you can use? We've heard 30 about in the comments, but do you have a number?
So I don't have the exact number, but what I will always do is I'll go to my profile and I'll mess with it and edit it and then look to see where it's getting cut off, because it'll let you have a certain number of characters, but then it doesn't show it all. It'll say like read more. So like on mine, when it's in the feed, even right now, and I had messed with it probably 3 months ago, it didn't have that more option. It had like all of it was shown. So you kind of can determine, like, I would just play with it back and forth and not worry about, like, it'll cut you off at a certain amount. But again, you're not going to see all of it necessarily.
Right. And this is a pretty common question I've seen throughout the years, but what is the best time to post on Instagram? Do you have a recommendation?
So it really depends on each person and their audience. So I would look at your insights, look to see when it's saying they're interacting the most. For me personally, it's after 6 o'clock Eastern. Anytime after that, I'm pretty good at that's when people are going to interact with me. And that's also when I am going to interact with others. I'm going to post, I'm going to go interact with people with similar hashtags so that I can get that engagement. And then that engagement normally comes back because people are like, oh, she's commenting. Who is this that's commenting? And that's when they look and see what you have.
Right. Okay. And then you mentioned adding the hashtags in the comment section versus the caption. What is the benefit of that versus putting it in the caption?
It's prettier, honestly. It doesn't affect, as far as the algorithm, having the hashtags in the description or in the comments. So for me, I'm already telling my story. I want people to focus on that story and not take a look at those hashtags. Plus, I will often, and this is totally up to you guys, do what works best for you, but for me, I will auto post to Facebook from Instagram. So that way my hashtags don't go with it. It's just the description. I'm giving my call to action always in that description as well. And then they'll interact with me that way.
Mm-hmm. And do you have a recommendation for the number of hashtags to use?
30 is the number of hashtags that Instagram allows you, and I would switch them up. Don't always just copy and paste the same hashtags. I would have like a go-to. That's why in my audits, I provide people with 50 so they can kind of like, copy certain ones and then pop up to the next set and then kind of move it around so that it's not always in the same arrangement.
Right. Okay, great. And then everyone has a busy life. So we've had the question, do you schedule your posts or do you post them live?
I'm giggling because Instagram is the only platform that I don't schedule. I like to do things live. I want to make sure that I post live because I want to then go interact with others so that I have that like juice kind of coming back to me. I'm going to have people seeing that I'm interacting and coming back to me right when my post actually goes live. And I absolutely do not schedule my stories. I have an idea, and you'll see in that planner that I actually gave, that is one of my freebies. in the planner, I have kind of set things that I know and I talk about that I'm going to make sure that I put out there all the time that are pretty consistent. And then I have my kind of like random things throughout the day that I'll add into my stories so that it's a consistent part of my day.
Right. Okay, great tip. We are looking, we have a question about a giveaway in the stories. It's not their own cookbook, but how would you recommend going about doing a giveaway?
Yeah. So if you were giving away a cookbook, I would do like a quick, just kind of like I did even with my book. You could do a quick boomerang, like you have the book, you do a boomerang video of you being like silly with the book. And then I would say, if you're interested in being entered to win the cookbook, let me know below. And then my poll would say, heck yes, let me in. And then already entered. Don't ever give them the option for no. So actually give them social proof, always showing that someone has already done it, and then give them the option that they still need to do it. And then once, based on that poll of how they answered, I would then DM them with that link for the giveaway, depending upon how you're doing it. Like if there's a link to actually like put it into a Robocopter or Rafflecopter or whatever it's called. I don't do giveaways, clearly. If you have a link to that landing page, then do it that way. Or I personally have done things where like I will tell them, I might give them instructions in direct messages to go over to my profile, or depending on how you want to actually get entries for that giveaway. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then email lists are very important to build. Do you have a recommendation on the quickest, easiest way in Instagram to get people to subscribe to an email list?
Yes, having that link in your profile to your list is one.
Mm-hmm.
And two, talking about your list, your opt-in, your freebies every single day on Instagram stories. Getting them in, doing a quick, even like pick up your phone, do a 15-second kind of video, like this is what we're putting together. This is my Mediterranean, like Amy is my example, because of course I saw it there. My Mediterranean diet book. If you want it, click below. And then my poll, again, I go to polls every single time because it's so easy for them to hit yes or no, or to hit whatever options you're giving them, and then send them the link in DM for that landing page so that they can opt in. Like that is what you're always looking to do. I would be talking about it constantly. The biggest thing that I want people to remember is you can think that you've talked about something often enough. And what I have learned is that you have not. I have had clients that have done mastermind programs, that have done coaching with me, and then have come back and said, Jenny, I didn't know you had a course on pitching. I could have gotten your course months ago if I knew that. I'm like, clearly I'm not talking about this enough. So even if you think you've talked about it, you clearly haven't talked about it enough. Just keep talking about it. And as long as you're offering it up as a way from like heart-centered trying to serve people, that's where you're going to get those people kind of like jumping in, wanting to do it, and not feeling that icky feeling of like you're trying to sell to them.
Right. That's not a good feeling. And then we have a lot of questions here, so I'm going to take one more before we wrap it up. Can you upload videos to IGTV, or does that have to be live as well?
No, IGTV, you can upload a video. I want to say it has to be 10 minutes. Don't quote me on that because I feel like they change things all the time. But you can absolutely upload a video. It also has to have like you need to know how to flip it in case you do it the wrong way. Like it has to be up and not landscape, the other one, profile. I think it's like a Pinterest image. Let's do it that way. It needs to be like a pinnable image going up and down rather than horizontal like it would need to be for Facebook. So just keep that in mind for sure.
Great. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much. If you like Jenny's session, please let her know in the comments section. Jenny has been a huge help to this conference, and we really appreciate having her. If you did join late or you do want to replay the session, you can purchase the All Access Pass for $20, and that price will go up at the end of our sessions on Friday. So I recommend getting it now rather than later, just in case you forget. You can find more information on our website, and I just sent the link in the chat, so you can click there for more information. So the rest of the day, We will have 4 more sessions for today, and the next session will start in exactly 1 hour, and that will be a session with our panel, which will be the Real Talk with Foodies of Color. And then at 2 hours after that, which will be 11 Pacific time, 2 Eastern time, we have Beyond the Ad Network, exploring creative ways to make money from your blog. And then after that, how to connect with your audience through your website. And the final session of the day will start at 3 Pacific time, 6 Eastern time, and that is no time, no problem, how to make more money from your business when you only have a few broken seconds. So that is the schedule for the rest of the day. So again, thank you, Jenny. Really appreciate it. And drop your comments in the chat. And Jenny's available, like she said. So go contact her, go message her. She's an expert.
Yep, definitely hit me up on Instagram and DM at Jenny_Melrose with any questions that I didn't answer, because I saw there were questions still coming through. So please feel free to put them there.
Mm-hmm. And we have one more question about the sessions. These sessions, if the speaker chooses to share the presentation, they will be available through the All Access Pass along with the actual video and the presentation. So great, thank you.